Ages, architects and engineers have designed and built the great structures that have made our world and withstood the test of time. Hi, I'm Ed Asner. Welcome to Architects and Engineers. Let's look now at modern steel frame buildings. This is the Empire State Building, a marvel of modern architecture. It was built to last. Architects and engineers of today use computers to design and engineer buildings that will endure the forces of nature, such as earthquakes, fires, and hurricanes. This modern skyscraper was also built to last. We've seen buildings completely destroyed like this before, but only when done intentionally. Danny Jowenko is the expert on this in Europe. What did he say?
Dit is controlled demolition. Zeker weten. Zeker weten. Er is nagesprongen. Dit is in opdracht gebeurd. Het heeft een team gedaan van experts.
Let's compare.
All right. That's a 5-minute video that you can obviously watch at Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. It's been seen millions of times online, and now PBS channels I know around the country have also been airing it. Our guest really needs no introduction. He has a lot of courage, whether you agree with his politics completely or not. Undoubtedly, he's an honorable person who stands up for what he believes is right, Ed Asner. And he's volunteering his time again for a new film they're working on, shooting soon, with a laundry list of other famous actors. I can't say any as famous as Ed Asner, but some of them close. A violation of trust that basically puts the whole thing on trial. And that is very, very exciting. 911newinvestigation.com has information on that as well. AE 9/11 Truth has information on it. Bottom line, I've talked to the emergency manager, deputy head in New York. He said there were bombs in the buildings. He was told that. He was there. Building 7, he died right after the interview. Danny Jowenko, one of the top controlled demolition experts in Europe, went public. They ran him over in a suspicious automobile accident. They've killed a lot of people. They're really scared of experts. And Ed, obviously, he's putting his life on the line. So am I. I've talked to police officers by name on this show who were there and heard the countdown to blow up Building 7. And then the disinfo people spin that and say, you're just attacking the police officers like they were involved. No, the firefighters and police were told, get back, they're bringing it down. They didn't say who they were. And you see now with Democracy Now!, but before then she was just on in New York, Amy Goodman getting the countdown and running, and then you see Building 7 blow up. And I've talked to one police officer who's in that video who was there, and they said, get out of here, there's a countdown, it's going to come down. We have police on video saying, on CNN, get back, they're bringing 7 down. So 7 is the key, and Ed Asner has volunteered his time to expose it. I wanted to spend some time on 9/11 with him and then get into some other issues. But Ed, great to have you here with us, sir.
Good to be with you, Alex. Keep doing the great work you're doing.
So much is happening. Just out of the gates, your view on 9/11, why you question it, and give us a little tidbits on this film that's in development.
Well, it's call it an imaginary film of a commission assembled by the government to finally and fully hear and examine what happened on 9/11, with particular emphasis on Building 7. And there was, if one follows the script, definitely governmental activity in the actions that took place that day. I made also a 10-minute film with Mark Rydell. Names flee from me like my years.
Hey, I understand. I've actually got a list of all the films you've made about 9/11, and I can't even find them here in my list. The point is you've done a lot of great work exposing this, but just watching Building 7 come down, I mean, it's so ridiculous. The blast points, the free fall, all of it, and they're scared to death of any investigation. You know, Rumsfeld was asked by Eric Mueller, a talk show host, about the controlled demolition of it, and Rumsfeld said, I don't even know that exists, and basically implied the building didn't even exist, and we were crazy to even ask.
Well, Rumsfeld has run up the mouth before, and why should he stop now? He was one of the chiefs that day. The 10-minute film I made with Mark Rydell, Brian was our director and writer, in which I introduced the idea that Building 7 came down with assisted help. It was not damaged by either of the planes. The owner himself said, is quoted as having said, we're going to have to pull it. And so my argument in the film is based on the fact that, well, to pull a building, in other words, destroy it, you have to have explosives brought in and placed judiciously throughout the building to bring it down. And I further the argument, if they could do that with that building, why couldn't they do it with the Twin Towers, which I feel they did. They assisted, brought them down. There are great arguments by the architects and engineers that the planes themselves could not have done that to those buildings. So if the planes couldn't have done it, if you accept that premise, then it had to have been pre-planted explosives.
Well, you're right about that, but expanding on it, now even the LA Times admits that Al-Qaeda, real Al-Qaeda, has been given control of Libya. They're being used to invade Syria. They're being used to launch terror attacks inside Iran. Even NBC had the headline Friday, Israel uses terror group to attack Iran. And then they admit it's a Wahhabist group out of Saudi Arabia. I've interviewed the head of the U.S. Embassy, Mr. Springman, who said they wouldn't let Mohammed Atta and others into the U.S. in 2000 because they were flagged as terrorists. And then they got a call from the State Department saying they work for the CIA, that's their cover, let them in. And I mean, this isn't theories. I've interviewed the people who witnessed this. Sybil Edmonds, as you know, FBI translator, heard Al-Qaeda being commanded on the day of 9/11 by the Pentagon.
Well, I mean, the fabric is so rotten. I suppose people... I didn't hear about the European expert being run over. Was he killed?
Yes, he was killed.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, I guess I have to tremble in my boots then.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, it's cold here now, so I'll tremble anyway.
Oh, man, I tell you, it is so sad how crazy things have gotten. But the good news is people are starting to wake up. What do you make, Ed, of just the craziness of the world today and open discussions of huge wars being launched?
Well, it looks like Iran is being set up for some kind of action with the Soyuz being blocked by our Navy. And I imagine that there will be some action this summer or fall to either create another October surprise or to say, well, it's Israel. Well, we can't do anything about that. We can, of course, if our Congress didn't keep supplying them with all the money in the world that they need.
Well, my issue is this. I don't want anything to happen to Israel. I'm not an enemy of Israel. But my issue is Iran, if they develop a nuclear weapon, which they're not even close to doing according to the CIA, Israel's got hundreds of nukes, and the Iranians have been taking all these terror attacks in their country without responding back, and their scientists being killed. I mean, who says that Iran would ever attack Israel with a single nuke? I mean, Pakistan has 100 nukes, and our government's bombing their country, even though they're saying stop it. And I've had people like Colonel Schaefer on it. He agrees with me. The #1 threat is starting a war with Pakistan now.
Well, I have been in touch with certain SEALs who feel that an action is forthcoming, and they're trying to alert and get people to pay attention and to make some motion of stopping it before it gets too started, and the American press starts brainwashing us that creating a false flag operation. We have to watch and see what kind of false flag is going to be developed on this issue.
Boy, you said it, Ed. They are calling for false flags. I've seen the CFR publicly say a provocation would be great.
Yeah.
And I've seen the Brookings Institute and Clapper, the head of national security, openly talk about how great an attack would be, because then they'd have an excuse to attack.
Yeah.
Very transparent.
Well, I don't know where it's going to end. My mind is boggled at the complicity that goes on throughout this world. And I have no answers. I would merely like to expose the truth, or continue trying to help the exposure of truth for what was done in the past. If we can solve the past, then maybe we can militate against future such horrendous complicity in the future.
Well, you're right again. If we can't turn around and expose the old crimes, then the corrupt system is going to get away with greater and greater and greater.
Of course. And the American people have to stop saying, who are we? What do we stand for? What are we doing? And, Ron Paul, for whatever other faults he may have, certainly says, let's stop our foreign engagements. And if we only could put a brake on these foreign engagements, it would be a lot more difficult to initiate the false flag operations that always precede these holocausts that we become engaged in, such as Iraq, even Afghanistan.
Well, the good news is, Ed, and I want your perspective on this, it does seem that more people are becoming aware. Congress has the lowest approval rating ever. People don't like Mitt Romney, and they don't like Barack Obama, despite the media trying to demonize Ron Paul and make stuff up. He's had a better showing than ever, and I see that as a real indicator that across the board, people are starting to wake up. Well,
but you need a point man. I'm afraid we don't have one. You need a point man, and Ron Paul will be discredited by the big money operators, and all we can do is call him a voice in the wilderness.
As things come to a head, I want to go back to this SEAL situation. So currently serving Navy SEALs, obviously you're there in California and a famous guy, and you're saying that they're reaching out to you saying, please warn everyone, it's about to happen. That's what I'm being told by my military sources, sir.
Yeah, the same thing here. Same thing here. And they're trying to enlist as many people as they can, but they're not in power right now, and they don't have sufficient power to generate a finger pointing that will take effect.
Why are the SEALs not wanting to go to war? I mean, I know that's a silly question, but what have they told you?
They've said that more or less the false flag is coming, and that we're going to be involved in more foreign escapades. And one of these triggers on false flag operations runs the danger of worldwide conflict if it gets out of hand.
Let's compare.
All right. That's a 5-minute video that you can obviously watch at Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. It's been seen millions of times. online, and now PBS channels I know around the country have also been airing it. Our guest really needs no introduction. He has a lot of courage, whether you agree with his politics completely or not. Undoubtedly, he's an honorable person who stands up for what he believes is right, Ed Asner. And he's volunteering his time again for a new film they're working on, shooting soon, with a laundry list of other famous actors. I can't say any as famous as Ed Asner, but some of them close. A violation of trust that basically puts the whole thing on trial. And that is very, very exciting. 911newinvestigation.com has information on that as well. AE 911 Truth has information on
buildings. This is the Empire State Building, a marvel of modern architecture. It was built to last. Architects and engineers of today use computers to design and engineer buildings that will endure the forces of nature, such as earthquakes, fires, and hurricanes. This modern skyscraper was also the ages, architects and engineers have designed and built the great structures that have made our world and withstood the test of time. Hi, I'm Ed Asner. Welcome to Architects and Engineers. Let's look now at modern steel frame so built to last. We've seen buildings completely destroyed like this before, but only when done intentionally. Danny Jowenko is the expert on this in Europe. What did he say?
Dit is controlled demolition. Zeker weten. Zeker weten. Er is nagesprongen. Dit is in opdracht gebeurd. Het heeft een team gedaan.